have a very, very big announcement to make, like as big as it gets, and I won't tell you on what.
So his announcement is that he's got an announcement? Can you at least give us a hint?
It'll be one of the most important announcements that have been made in many years about a certain subject.
A certain subject. That narrows it down to literally anything. Please tell us if it's good or bad. Should I be stocking up on champagne or toilet paper?
It's very positive. I'd tell you if it was negative or positive. I can't keep that out. It is really, really positive.
Okay, that sounds really positive. Just tell me when exactly to tune in, and I will clear my schedule.
And that announcement will be made either Thursday or Friday or Monday before we leave.
All right. You have no idea what you're announcing, do you? You're just going to go into the next room and be like, guys, I promised them something big. Does anyone have anything good? I have 2 to 5 days, and don't say Jell-O shots, Pete.
The silence where our secrets hide. It's the truth we were both denied. And I know that you know that it ain't right. Went from falling to wasting time, always waiting to make your mind. But I can't feel like I'm the one left behind. Hold on, walking on the edge in the night time. Open up my heart, still you're fine, but I'm lost. Looking at the moonlight, thinking back to days you were mine. Even though I know you're happier, I wish I was better for that. I'm sorry. Hold on, walking on the edge in the night time. Open up my heart, still you're fine, but I'm lost. Looking at the moonlight, thinking back to days you were mine. Even though I know you're happier, I wish I was better for that. I'm sorry.
Okay, everybody, we have got to move. This is David, XRPLion, and have I got a decode for you? Man, oh man. The Lord just dropped a download on me the other day, and it's taken me this long just to get it all done. And it just kept growing and growing and growing and growing. But wait till you see what's going on. We're talking about today. The greatest day the world will ever see. Trump is going to announce just fabulous, fantastic news today. He was going to do all this on May 2nd, which was the date I did the reveal on. The 5.2 earthquake in Julian. Okay. So, we're going to push forward. And we're just going to move. Going to move real quick. Okay. Here we go. Boom. SCOTUS. Brunson case ruling. Treason. May 8th, today. Is both spiritual and prophetic, and you're going to find out why. I made my ruling. Biden and the corrupt, evil, and nefarious deep state rigged the 2020 election. They have committed treason, punishable by death. if Trump's statement referring to one of the most important announcements in many years about a very important subject, and it coincides with a pending SCOTUS ruling, then the Brunson case is the strong candidate for what he might be signaling. So let's break it down. Let's break down why the Brunson case could be that subject. The Brunson case versus Alma S. Adams et al. Case challenges the core of the 2020 certification process. It alleges that Congress failed its congressional duty by refusing to investigate alleged election fraud before certifying the 2020 Electoral College results. If SCOTUS rules in favor of Brunson, it'll trigger the removal of hundreds of elected officials. It will invalidate portions of the 2020 process. It would directly implicate national security, electoral legitimacy, and constitutional accountability. And it would bring treason. Trump's wording matches the Brunson impact profile. The most important announcement refers not to a bill or campaign rally, but a historic ruling or reversal. This is what's so key. And I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm looking up here. I didn't have time to change the slide numbers. So you're going to see a whole bunch of slide number 2s. Okay? Don't worry about that. there was so much information to try to put into this video to get it out before he has that meeting this morning. I think it's supposed to be 10 Eastern time. So I am just putting the pedal to the metal. A certain subject, a very important subject, without saying election, it may be his legal way of alluding to something he cannot say outright. And you'll see a little bit on why coming up. Trump is known for telegraphing truth wrapped in ambiguity, and this pattern matches his previous coded disclosures. Timing is key. Trump made this statement just before his trip to the Middle East, creating global positioning optics. SCOTUS has been tight-lipped on several high-profile cases. Should the ruling be imminent, Trump may already be aware and hinting subtly for those who are watching with discernment. Of course we are. So he was supposed to announce the activation of the EBS on May 2nd. And that was in video number 2. It's still up there in the upper tier on Before It's News. The Brunson case is constitutionally aligned with Nasara Jassar principles. Why? It restores constitutional integrity. It removes the deep state actors via lawful court proceedings. It aligns with the idea of a reset or return to lawful governance, a theme Trump has often echoed. And again, the timing of all this is critical. You've been hearing me, talk about the Brunson case over and over and over again. When I was on Patriot Underground's show, and he asked me what did I think would be the one big item, and the Holy Spirit just dropped in and said, Dave, it's the Brunson ruling. Why? Because it can provide enough for them to be able to announce the EBS for the safety of people, get people back into their homes, shut down the markets, do all that great stuff. So if Trump is hinting at the Brunson SCOTUS ruling, which I believe he is, and again, it's multifaceted, okay, and you're going to see why. This could mark the legal trigger point for full public exposure of the fraud, and it aligns with the long-anticipated activation of NESARA, which has already been done, the QFS, and military intervention, all which are taking place, just not in that last little part. Here's the timeline. Key milestones in the case. November 21st. You can read this. Early 22. November 30th, January 6th. And then interesting, January 6th pops up here, and it's exactly 2 years. 2 years. January 9th, then we have 2023 through 2024. We have May 6th. Trump makes his cryptic statement. There's no subject named. The statement aligns with increased speculation about an imminent SCOTUS ruling, and the announcement is expected during or after Trump's Middle East tour. Well, what a great time to be in the Middle East. Or supposedly, and we're locking down around the world. And of course, who would make sure that nothing happened to him? Of course, you got the alliance, but the Saudis, they handed over everything to him in sword dance. Possible implications: mass removal of Congress, retroactive invalidation of the election, constitutional foundation laid for NESARA, triggers global awareness of quantum financial system, and Trump's position to publicly re-enter, so to speak, under lawful constitutional authority. So what's happening here? The Brunson case is the very important subject Trump is referring to. This would mark a legal and spiritual milestone. The SCOTUS ruling could become the flashpoint that fills both the legal justice and the prophetic restoration. So it's spiritual and prophetic. So here's what happens. Under NESARA, once NESARA is announced, we have to have our new election within 120 days. Now, surprisingly, what also pops up for today is the vote on the upcoming Genius Act. Now, this is where it gets really interesting because we have a lot of fodder, a lot of disinformation, a lot of the narrative to keep people distracted and busy. NESARA nullifies illegitimate governance structures. Well, NESARA has already been signed over an executive order, so it started. Started on the 25th of March. And you'll see how that plays out. So any vote taking place under pre-NESARA institutional authority is symbolic at best and non-binding at worst. Since NESARA requires a 10% reduction in government, interim governance, and new sovereign elections, no vote can be made by the current occupants of the old system because it carries true legal or moral authority. So it's not legal unless it is revalidated under NESARA compliant procedures. So the Genius Act, it's just symbolic. So if this act progresses, it would have expanded government programs, digital control mechanisms, or fiat-based educational funding activities. Not going to happen. Then its alignment must be questioned. Why? Because it contradicts NESARA. It uses fiat funding or relies upon the old Federal Reserve Treasury system. And remember, they already canceled the Federal Reserve. They went in and seized all their magic money machines. They have no money. They can't print anything. They're literally neutered. It is passed by non-constitutional elected officials. Under corporate U.S. law, can't do it. That system is no longer in place. You've been hearing me talking about that with the SEC lawsuit for Ripple. It was under the old corporate U.S. law, which is defunct. It lacks quantum compliance, gold backing, or sovereign protocols. So it aligns with NESARA only if it promotes free, sovereign, and spiritually aligned education. It would have to pass under the Restored Republic procedures by officials lawfully elected under NESARA protocol. And we haven't had that election yet. It operates under the QFS with digital transparency and zero debt obligation. What this vote could mean strategically. It may be a test vote to signal who is still clinging onto the old system versus who is operating under NESARA. It could be a public disclosure marker, allowing the people to witness the collapse of the fiat institutional system trying to maintain power. It may be allowed temporarily for optics before the full mass disclosure event or QFS public reveal. So bottom line, any legitimate vote made post 3/4/25 is legally irrelevant unless made under the Restored Republic and NESARA compliant system. So the Genius Act is not issued under sovereign election and QFS principles, and is likely just part of the final gasp of the shadow legislative machine being exposed. So we're going to take a look at some dates, and we're going to move quickly. So you'll have to come back and probably watch this a couple times. Here's the QFS election compliance timeline. Okay. If we use March 4th, that's when he had his joint meeting, assembly. That's where he was signaling the restoration of the Republic, going all the way back to March 4th, 1789. So we have a 30-day public educational period. We have a 60-day restoration transition. We have a 90-day government restructure. And then we would have our 120 constitutional election deadline. So using this start date, it puts us at July 2nd for the full 120 days. Okay. So given everything that we've talked about, we have our March 4th, where we have our EBS activation. We have our 3 days of darkness and 10 days of disclosure. We have redemption center appointments. I went ahead and projected, as I've pointed out, 30 to 50% reduction in the population deemed ineligible for redemption. And that's due to a lack of purity of intent. So we have roughly an estimated 240 million Americans, 17,000 redemption centers, which would be open 24/7. 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. So NESARA's hard deadline for elections is July 2nd. That's the soonest it could be, using that start date. So then you can go through here and look at the logic. It's going to be a one-day quantum election. It's going to be done on the QFS. You'll vote out of your on your quantum phone, or your quantum laptop, right from your quantum access account. It'll trigger. All the results are instantaneous, so it'll just take, they'll know in real time when the majority is reached. So it completes all these great things. And it still leaves time for the public hearings, the re-education, the trust rebuilding. and also allows time for the interim state leaders to come in. And they're all selected and just waiting to come in. So the most probable date is June 28th, and here's why. Interesting, it falls on a Saturday. It provides the full 3 months for post-EBS recalibration. It sits 4 days before July 4th. That's a nice buffer. It leaves time to certify and install the new government. Okay? So then, in this particular case, July 1st through the 2nd, it's too risky for full certification, vote audits if necessary, and other transitional steps. And here's the qualifiers. You can read through that. Now we're going to go and use March 25th. So we had March 4th, which was the day that he was signaling he restored the Republic during his mandatory session at the Capitol, where everybody had to attend. Now we're going to when it's been indicated that he signed over the executive order to start Nasara. So here's our start date. And you'll see this takes us out to July 23rd. Now, a lot of people are probably saying, well, wait a minute, Dave, that goes past July 4th. Yes, it does. And I understand that. Okay? But you'll see why. Okay? So then what I did is I said, there's a significance in this date. Okay? There's always a significance to the dates when things happen. So I went in and found, excuse me, the top 5 historical May events. May, okay? And then I ranked them by probability of that being the correlation. And look at this. May 8th, 1945. Victory Day in Europe. Hello? The surrender of surrender of Nazi Germany and the end of World War II in Europe. So why does this resonate? It signifies the collapse of an evil empire and a global shift towards sovereignty, freedom, and reconstruction. It mirrors the takedown of the Khazarian Mafia and the Rothschild banking cartel, ending decades of financial warfare. It's celebrated as Liberation Day in many countries. Hello? You can't make this stuff up. So you can see that the Prometheus, it searches out everything, the correlations. Okay, so this is like Redemption Day under the QFS. Then we go to the 17th, there's 17, and it's a Supreme Court ruling. Brown versus the Board of Education. Resets a national precedent. Mirrors the potential Brunson-Scotus case, where one ruling could reset the Republic and decertify elections. It opened the door for long overdue civil rights and lawful governance. Then we have the 14th. I mean, if these aren't significant enough, so I'm trying to get this done. So it gets out there, people can see it. The founding of the State of Israel, May 25th. JFK's moon mission announcement. A bold national vision to transcend earthly limits. It's parallel to Trump's quantum vision. QFS, XRP, and interdimensional financial sovereignty. It echoes themes of destiny, innovation, and divine mission. The only thing I didn't do is look to see how many years separated these. Then we had the Act of Union forms in the UK. And again, all of these are resonating with Nasara. Divine governance post 1871. So these 5 events each carry the themes of liberation, reset, sovereignty, divine timing, and humanity's leap into a new era, our quantum leap. And all of it is happening right now. Right now. Today. I want you to go through and look at. I went and calculated based upon the dates and all the correlations to 45, because it's actually 45 days. Look at this. March 25th to May 8th, 45 days. Trump, 45th president. 45 becomes both symbolic and prophetic. 45 days between Nasara initiation and Trump's victory announcement. That's not by accident. Symbolically, it proclaims 45 days to restore the republic under 45. Biblical and divine completion. 45 is 9 times 5. 9 is completion, judgment, finality. 5 is grace, favor, and redemption. Oh boy. You should be flipping out right now. I tested the other dates. Friday, Monday. They don't go anywhere. Excuse me. They don't tie back to any of this. None of it. None of it. Nasara begins. Day 1 begins on the Dark Cabal's calendar. Day 45 on the Sovereign Restoration. That's May 8th. Gosh, I'm so excited. I just want to, I just want to get this out there for everybody to see. Then we use DigiSum. It 9, completion, end of cycle, new creation and divine order, the wrapping up of justice before restoration. Again, look through these things. They all tie out. The gifts of the Spirit in Galatians equals 9. Yeshua, Jesus, died in the 9th hour. In Hebrew, the 9th letter, tet. Goodness hidden within. A coil or spiral tied to the God spiral. The Gematria notes. 9. Truth. 441. Light. 207. Judgment. 64. And there's more. And you can go through each one of these things. You know, God didn't just give me a date and go, okay, Dave, put that out there. No, he gave me the date and he knows we dive deep. We dive deep. And there's one, which is Alf. Excuse me. So the word Adam. Oh, look at this. Other associations. Adam. 1. Plus 4. Plus 40. Whoops. It's 45. Therefore, 45 equals mankind. Adam, humanity. Trump represents the restoration of mankind, completion of the judgment. Trump 45 is the vessel for divine judgment. 9, to complete the age of injustice and restore sovereignty. And then here's some other, excuse the typo. In a rush. Sorry about that. Thank you for your forgiveness. Concepts. Hebrew values. Gematria values. And then the symbolic meaning. Restore of mankind. Divine judgment. Humanity. Divine image. Redemption. Victory. Quantum. Quantum. Guys. Quantum. And you know quantum means how much? Truth. Light shines at completion. Judgment leads to divine order. And then just a quick little reference to the alignment of the key values. More on that. And what it all means. I mean, I had to leave a bunch of stuff out just to get this done. Woo. Five high-level spiritual and strategic insights with regard to the election. July 2nd, Genesis 7, God rested after his work, not from exhaustion, but from completion. The quantum election on 7-2 represents mankind is restored and God rests again, having completed the reset of his nation. 3-4 was the eve of divine fullness. Excuse me. 7-2 becomes the eve of fulfillment. It's a threshold moment, the final act, before the promise is fully delivered. Divine structure and governance, new covenant leadership. That election ends Babylon's grip and installs those chosen under God's frequency. And we go over all of these numbers right here. It's the 3-2-1 countdown in reverse. This day, Republic is restored. This day, Quantum Nasara begins. This day, the people speak. The kingdom era begins. That's your Genesis, Exodus, kingdom timeline. Okay, remember Exodus, right? It's our Red Sea moment. That's what this is all about. And that should do it, everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. I'm going to get this posted and get it up on before it's news just as quickly as I can. God bless. Have a wonderful day, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.